I'm Abrielle Millet for BYU-Idaho Radio, and today I'm here with Elder Robert C. Gay, who is Emeritus General Authority 70, and who'll be speaking to us at Devo today. Can you tell us a little something that you would want the audience to know about you?
Sure. I think I'd want the audience to know that I have a wonderful wife who is sitting next to me but doesn't want to be on this radio program that I've been married to for 52 years. And we have 7 wonderful children and 23 grandchildren. And family is our great joy.
Family is everything. And you said in your Devo that this is on this campus at Rick's is where you actually met your wife, right?
No, we met in high school.
Oh, you met in high school.
In Southern California. We happened to go to different high schools.
Okay.
She came to what is now BYU-I, and I went to BYU Provo, and I would drive up here to see her.
Oh, okay. Okay, you came up to her. That's nice. In your address, you're going to be talking about how to be true to the voice of God. And I wanted to ask you what you can tell us a little bit about this choice of topic.
Sure. Being true to the voice of God was something I was taught from the time I can remember. I don't remember listening to any more important lesson from my father than what he would say to me is always be true to the voice of the Spirit within you. And one of the most profound experiences of my life was, for lots of different reasons, I didn't ever want to go into business. And my father was a CEO, a very well-recognized CEO in the world. And he wanted me to go to business. He wanted me to go to Harvard and get an MBA. And I purposely refused to get an MBA. And I went to get a PhD, but not in business. But then out of some, anxiety and just not wanting to displease my father too much, my dad just simply said, pray about it. So I did pray about it, and I applied to this special program at Harvard. And I went there with the intent just to say, hey, Dad, I tried. But then as we were coming out of a 5-hour interview, the program director said to me, I'm the one who makes every decision. You're in. You won't hear from us for 3 months, but you're in. And then I heard a voice say to me, this is where you're supposed to be. And I thought, I don't want to be in a business school. But I listened to that voice, and so I was just taught this. And I've always tried to listen, whether I was serving as a general authority or in business, whether as a father. We do a lot of other things in the world in humanitarian work. We always try to just follow that voice. It's the most important thing I know in my life to do.
Yeah, that's something that's super important, and it can be hard to develop. So what would you say to someone who's learning how to listen to the voice of God? How do you listen to it?
It will always lead you to do good things and not anything that would distract from the atonement of Jesus Christ or anything that would take you into questionable places. There's in the scriptures, it always teaches you that the voice of God takes you to do that which is good. And the scriptures say, by their fruits you know. And sometimes the hardest part is not hearing or sensing the Spirit. It's understanding, why do you want me to go do this? Or this makes no sense to me. It made no sense to me to go to a business school at Harvard. The hardest part is learning to trust that voice and acting upon it. And that's much more difficult than just hearing it. And sometimes in life, well, I think most of the times in life, and even as students here at the university, you don't understand exactly why you choose the major that you choose, but you feel impressed to do that. And it's maybe 10 or 15 years down the road. It's like looking in a rearview mirror. You see it. You say, now I understand. God doesn't lay out the future roadmap step by step. It's usually in hindsight that we understand.
That's so true. It definitely takes sometimes perspective and time to really realize the why. I think that's very important, what you said about how knowing the why, I think, can be harder than even hearing it. You mentioned a couple of stories of where you felt impressed or you shared other people's experience of where they kind of relied on God. How have you felt the Lord guide your life and your decisions to bless the lives of others?
I've felt the Lord's hand in my life since the time I was just a young child growing up. I've always prayed. I always have studied the scriptures. And in those two processes, I have felt his spirit. I've been a great student of the prophets, studied them, and I just think in all these instruments are tools that the Lord has given us. I mean, prayer is given to us to commune with him. The scriptures are given to us to commune with him. And I think as you act upon those principles, you hear them. And so I can't remember a time that I haven't heard them. And I think that has always led me to be sensitive to those around me, because I try to relate what I pray about and what I read about to real life situations. So I pray daily for others.
I love that. And I love how you talk about prayer and how you felt like there's never been a time where you haven't felt God guide you in that way. When you talk about following the voice of the Lord through prayer, how do you develop a better connection with God through prayer? Because you talk about Elder Jeffrey R. Holland mentions how he was taught by the Lord to pray more. So what does praying more mean?
Yeah, isn't it the most interesting thing? Of all the things that he could have been taught, he was told to take this lesson back to the church. Pray more. Pray more wherever you are. Pray more in everything you do. Pray more over anything in your life. It's just not just get up in the morning, say your prayers, go to bed at night, say your prayers, go to church, say a prayer. No. And what he's really talking about, I believe, is have a constant communication with God. As you go about, it's not a matter of formally sitting down on your knees and going through the structure that we taught, ask, dear Heavenly Father, I thank thee, I ask for. No, it is a communication, a dialogue. And that's what I believe Elder Holland was really talking about. Always keep your mind and your heart in sync with God. Be reaching out as you're going through a day, and you're asking yourself, a prayer is you've just listened to somebody. Do I need to help that person in some way? I've driven by homes and say, you need to stop. And that's because you're in this constant dialogue, or even, people may come to you and invite you to engage with them in prayer. When I was at Harvard, when I was finishing my PhD, my professor, who was my thesis advisor, came to me and said, Bob, I want you to stay here and teach. And I said, well, Bill, that's why I came here. And he said, no, it's not for the reason you think. You're smart, but you're not that smart. He said, I don't think you're going to make some great contribution to the literature. But then he got up and walked around his desk around 3 times and he said, I think I know you. I really believe I know you. And I want you to stay here and teach these students at the Harvard Business School about God, because that's what I do in my office hours every day, and I need someone else to help me do that. Now, that's a prayer that he's pleading for me to engage with him. And so to pray more, pray everywhere, is to pray also with others and to join in and to be part of their lives and their problems and their challenges. It's really a reverence and a communion that is continual, and it's not a formality, is what I believe.
No, I love that. I think we don't often get to hear about when we've been answers to other people's prayers. So I think it's something spiritual to recognize and to hear about how we've been an answer to people's prayers. For example, the lady you mentioned in your talk, how you were an answer, a prayer to her, direction that she needed. And I feel like that story is super special, because I can just imagine that she was really pleading and looking for any kind of form of answer, any sign to really know what to do. And that can be really hard, to be in a spot where you're like, I don't know what to do. So what would you say to, I guess, students who are pleading, who are looking for an answer, a prayer? What do you do while you're, I guess, waiting or pleading?
Never give up. I've been in situations on assignments as a general authority where a stake president usually takes us to people who are really struggling to make ministering visits. And I've had young people say that I don't feel the Spirit at all. I pray to God and I get no answers. Nothing comes. What do I do? And the only answer is that you're on a journey with God. I mean, Job went through lots of things, and he was wondering, where is God? I mean, Joseph Smith had times when he was wondering, where is God? When all the persecutions were coming, he prayed one time, he said, for months and didn't get an answer until it just came much later. And the whole lesson of this is, even Christ said, my Lord, my God, why have you forsaken me? So part of the journey by design is to have these periods to wait upon God, our Father, because he's asking us to trust him, that he's still there in the fire with us, and to just keep doing. But as the music and songs have said, the light will always come. But part of the test is to trust that it will come, and you keep at it. And it may not come in the ways that you think it will come. It may come through somebody else just showing up at your door one day. It may come, in something in a movie you go see. I hear it, I see it, and it's just like those things. But it will come, and I don't know how else to say it to anybody. But you're not unique when you're feeling that there's no answers. Everybody goes through those by divine design, and we just, what is the word the scriptures use? Endure. And what did Elder Bednar promise? He will give you the strength to endure valiantly, and I believe that.
That's so true. You talk about how we will face obstacles. That's not something that we will avoid, even with following the Lord.
Yep.
And I like what you said. It's not a unique challenge, but it's something that we should feel comfort in knowing that there will be times we will all experience. And I love that invitation to not give up. what is something you hope students or anyone who listens to the devotional today takes away from your message?
I hope they take away that this real fundamental truth that we say over and over and over again without really understanding the full implication. You are a child of God, and because you are a child of God, you will never be forsaken. You will never be left alone. You are engraven upon the palms of his hands, as the scriptures say, if you just trust in him. And if you do that, not only will he help you with your challenges, you will become an instrument in his hands of helping others with their challenges. And you will become, as he is, a truly powerful person that is able, in your own way and in your own circle of influence, to astonish this world. I hope they all believe that, because I've seen it over and over again, and I've seen it with the poorest of the poor in Africa. My wife and we just got a letter from a single mother who has 2 children, who, when we first met her, was illiterate, uneducated, and with no work. But we found out after talking to her, she had faith. And so we helped her build upon that faith. We found out she could do one really good thing in life, and that her father had taught her how to restore the bodies of cars that had been in accidents and to paint them. And so we began that process, said, let's start with that. Let's help you become self-reliant. Let's get you a little paint shop. And so we helped her build that. We gave her a loan. She's paid it back. She built the #1 paint shop in the eastern region of Ghana. She employs many other people now. Her daughter has gone on a mission. Her son is putting in his papers to go on a mission now. And she has learned how to read and write and bless tons of people from somebody who thought that she had no hope. And this is all a process as us being one with one another. And that's what the voice of God is there for, to help you become one with him and one with your brothers and sisters, and to see them as he sees them, not as somebody who doesn't deserve or is just out there on a street corner begging. You've got to see him. And it's all about that.